Hello and welcome to Seoul in South Korea for the first IFSC World Cup on Asian soil since 2019. 20 athletes have made it through to this stage. It's time for the semi-finals. My name is Matt Groom and I'm here with USA athlete Sienna Kopf. Now, welcome to the commentary box. And first of all, I'm so sorry you didn't make it through.
Yes, it's the best consolation prize to not make it to the next round and get to commentate, but obviously I would love to be climbing today.
Well, look, it's a pleasure to have you with me. And we've been analysing these boulders this morning. We'll talk you guys through all the action. And look, straight away, there are some hard boulders out there.
Yes, there's some strong climbers out there. We need to set hard boulders to separate the field. So I think it's a good thing.
Well, it's going to be exciting. And as I said, the first IFSC World Cup since 2019. It's good to be back in Asia, isn't it?
It's so good to be back in Asia. I did quite a few of the comps in 2019 and obviously haven't been back to Asia since because of the whole situation. So it's good to explore, eat the 7-Eleven goods. It's a good time. Yep.
Well, that is our boulder wall. And I said earlier during another video that it's quite intimidating. It stretches across the whole stadium. It feels big out there.
Yes. It's tall, too. Very few of the boulders go anywhere near the very top of the wall, which is probably a good thing because they're tall enough as they are.
Yeah, and you stand underneath. That red and blue problem we can see in the middle, that overhang is severe. When you stand at the bottom, you can't see the top of the wall.
There was a rumor going around before this comp that the whole wall would be slab. So a few of us were kind of surprised to turn around and see such a steep qualification.
Yeah, and the slab down at the end, there's two slab sections, one on the right and one on the left.
Yeah, and they're both pretty steep. So we've got a 0 degree there on the right and almost a -3 on the left. And those aren't the slabbiest slabs. So it's going to be tricky. It's a little bit harder to balance on something that steep.
Well, that is our wall. And we're in a minute going to watch some qualification highlights because it was a heck of a qualification round. Lots of athletes competing and, of course, only 20 made it through to this stage. It's qualifying time in Seoul, South Korea, and the athletes are in action on the enormous bouldering wall behind me. In today's video, we're going to look at some of the spectacular special moments that took place and sum up all the results and who got through into the semi-finals. Oriane Berton is a bit of a star in South Korea. She finished 4th. Let's hear from her.
Actually, we're in South Korea, and I'm super psyched to be here. Qualifying went actually pretty well for me. I happened to have my best qualifying round in, since I started, I guess. So yeah, I'm super happy, and yeah, I concentrated on a lot of things more than I did on Meiringen, so I'm glad it worked.
Futaba Ito came 7th. The young Japanese star starting to establish herself as one to watch in every comp. 4 tops for her, including the slab of Boulder 5. Natalia Grossman is sure to be one of the favourites this weekend after her dominant qualifying round. She was inverted at times and topped out all 5 boulders in just 6 attempts, and she's leading the way into the semi-finals. Overhangs or slabs, nothing really got in her way. Miho Nanaka had dyed her hair blue in celebration of the first World Cup in Seoul and Asian soil since 2019. Bouncing back from a disappointing finish in Meiringen with a 6th place quali finish here in Seoul. Stasha Geo is in brilliant form, also managing to climb all 5 of the physical boulders and, as always, left nothing out on the mats. Don't bet against her for a podium finish tomorrow. Jessica Pill cracking with our semi-final because our first athlete is out on stage. Afra Hoink from Germany, starting with this women's Boulder 1, which you were saying has a blind start to it.
Yeah, it is. When you stand up in that start position, the first hold that you're going to is blocked by the hold that it's screwed into. So I saw Afra taking a good look at where those holds were, so when she hops on the wall, she has a good shot of, grabbing them.
Well, this is this first move. It's a big pop out to the right. And you can see those purple balls on top of the blue volume. And Gregor Vezonik getting started on men's one. Gregor was kind of amazed to be in this position. I saw him last night and he told me, I haven't made it. He was incredibly disappointed. I looked at the results and he had made it through.
Yes, just barely. He was the only climber to make the semifinal with one top from the qualification round. And there we were talking about how in that qualification there were some people closer to the end that actually performed super well. So Gregor was kind of in a tough spot.
He's doing well so far. There's quite a big move to the top here, and we think you have to get settled in nicely to do this move. And once you're positioned, it should be fairly straightforward. Up he goes with the right, but drops that top move.
That hold looks pretty slippery there at the top. Maybe getting his hips under it a little bit more, and maybe even both hands.
And of course, with 20 athletes coming through, that hole's not going to get any more friction filled, if that's a word.
Neither are the feet that Gregor easily walked across. Those are going to get worse and worse and worse.
Well, there is Afra. She's still figuring out this first move. Starts on the left, traverses over to the right. There's 3 minutes on the clock. Plenty of time to work this boulder out. Now, if you're new to comp climbing, let me explain how it works. The aim of the game is obviously to reach the top of the boulder problem. You start down at the bottom. You can see the start indicated by the word start in the blue circle. And you have to have your separate limbs on the hold indicated by the blue line. So Gregor getting himself stood up and established. The zone hold you can see on his right. That's the first scoring position on the wall. And then the top at the top again in a blue circle.
Both climbers moving into the zones now. Afra making quick work.
Yeah, Afra doing well, getting stood up and established now, popping up to the left and just loses that foot. And a big jump for Gregor, getting it this time, dialed it in.
Always a good way to start a round with the top of the first boulder. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, and I always am wary of saying that something's climbable early on, because so often we watch an athlete get through a boulder starting low down on the order and we think, well, it's totally doable or it's impossible, and our expectations have changed later on.
Well, I think the field nowadays is so tight between those 20 climbers. Anything can happen. So even if you're coming out first in the semifinal, by no means does that mean that you don't have a chance for that final.
Absolutely. Every athlete I've talked to has told me how hard these boulders are, and that's to be expected, of course. Everyone competing is the world's best. You need to give them a challenge, and yet the standard has risen up recently.
Yes, yes it has. I mean, even in comparison to the World Cups I did in 2019, nowadays the boulders are a lot harder, and everybody's working their ass off in training, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, part of the Olympic effect and part of Corona as well. A coach was telling me the other day that all everyone did during Corona was fingerboard and climb, and therefore just the standard just improved.
Yes.
So Afra gets stood up. She's in the zone, pops out to the right, and just slipping off that big black
Really
body.
nice on the first move there for Afra. She actually went with the right hand to that first purple ball, which seemed like good beta. Kind of prevent a bigger swing out.
Conditions here in the stadium, nice at the moment. It's been hot, especially yesterday during the women's qualification round, but the clouds have come over today. It's cool. There's a little bit of a breeze blowing through, so humidity really isn't going to be an issue for anyone out on the stage today.
The clouds this morning are really helpful. The sun was on the mats yesterday, and hot shoes and hot brushes definitely makes a difference in the conditions. So.
Hot brushes? I've never heard of a hot brush before.
Me neither, until I picked one up yesterday, and I immediately wanted to put it down because it's making my skin too warm.
I'm learning something.
Yes.
This is why we get athletes into the commentary box, because I learn something every time. Hot shoes, I can totally see, but hot brushes as well. There you go.
Almost everyone, or a good percentage in the back, have fans as well. That's a key for these summer, almost summer competitions.
We're talking the blowy fan, not the one that signs autographs.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, yes. Behind the wall. Behind the wall, we've got the blow.
Yeah, the isolation area is behind the wall, and there's a warm-up wall back there, some tents to protect the athletes from the sun if there is. And tell me about how they'll be feeling back there right now. What's an athlete going through, waiting to come out and perform?
I mean, a mix of nerves and excitement. I think qualifying for the semifinal is like very cool in its own. So I think a lot of these athletes are excited to be here, and they're excited for the chance to compete. And then obviously the carrot of that final is where the nerves come in, because you want to go out there and you want to perform and you want to give it your best shot, and that's a bit stressful.
There is Victor from Canada, young athlete, very popular on the scene.
Yep, climbed amazing yesterday. Watching Victor was really, really fun.
There is Sophia Yokoyama from Switzerland. She was my co-commentator in the Meiringen World Cup, making good progress with her training. Excited to make it through to this semi-final. The scoring indicated by on the left down there. The box is filled up. Oh, hang on a sec, Sophia's just topped out that route.
On her flash, that was super impressive.
Yeah, Sophia looked actually quite upset yesterday after her qualifying. I saw her with her coaches, but clearly perhaps being a little hard on herself because she is in good form.
Yes, well, like we said, coming out 19th or placing 19th in the qualifier, maybe it doesn't mean what it seems to.
Exactly, and a flash is climbing the boulder first time of asking without falling off. That's the best score you could possibly get, and that's what all the athletes will be looking to do. But obviously so hard just to come out, see a boulder and climb it first time.
Especially on that, like we talked about, that first move was pretty blind. Same with the move off of the black hold to the purple hold with the red jib, also a little bit blind. So that's even more impressive to flash when you can't necessarily see all the holds that you're going to.
So Victor Baudrin presses his way up on that starting position. You can see 2 feet on the bottom hold, indicated by the 2 lines, and then the right and the left. And it's dual texture, that hold, so the bit you can just see shining in the light, that has no friction on it at all. And his left palm is on that, and look at it, bringing that left foot onto that. And you've got to be so much more careful when standing on a dual text hold.
Yes. Nice flexibility and mobility there from Victor. That press up hand-foot match move isn't always easy. Oh. You can see the texture there. This right hand start that you have to stand on, that part with texture is still really low profile. So it helps that it's a little bit further out from the wall and you can lean in a little bit, but it's still terrible and very slippery. So I think we'll see more of that as the round goes on.
And when we say slab, what's the degrees on that first slab?
We measured it this morning and it looks like it's about -3, so that means it leans in just about 3 degrees, and that's pretty steep for comp climbing slab. In the USA Training Center we've got a -5, and that seems to be one of the nicer slab angles to climb on, but I mean, you've got to do it all. So
absolutely, yeah, you have to have lots of I was going to say arrows in your quiver, but that's not a saying. You know what I mean? You have to have lots of skills.
Tools in your toolbox.
Tools in your toolbox. That's a better one. Yeah, I mean, we've got everything here on this wall: overhangs, slabs, more vertical climbs.
Jugs, slopers, crimps.
Yes, less jugs, I'd say.
Yeah.
A couple at the top.
A couple at the top. Yeah. Just a few.
Just a few. Now with the semi-final, we start off quite slow and sedate, and then as the semi-final continues, the action is really going to ramp it up. We're going to have 8 athletes climbing at the same time in the middle of this semi-final. So it's going to be action-packed. We're going to try to bring you all of the action, and of course if we miss something, we'll be bringing you replays. So be patient, enjoy the climbing. And Victor's got a minute on the clock to get this done.
You know he feels the pressure building, because as much as you don't know what's happening necessarily when you're behind the wall, seeing Gregor come back in before the time has ended, Victor knows that he topped the boulder, and I feel like that kind of adds to it. You're like, my friend or this competitor of mine did this boulder, like now it's my chance. So as the time ticks down, that pressure definitely builds.
Yeah, it's interesting how you look at it, isn't it? Because I know Shauna Coxey, for example, when she was competing, she liked to hear when a boulder was topped, because she thinks, oh, I can now do that. So it's different. You either feel pressure because you know it is possible, or you feel like a rush of adrenaline with it because you think, oh, I can do it.
Super nice from Victor there. Sunk pretty low on the zone, but used that lower hand.
He's going to have to rush though. 2 seconds isn't enough.
No.
And we talked about that last move being difficult if you are rushed.
Too bad.
Yeah, Victor leaving a little too late to figure out that sequence. He'll go back into the allocation area, he'll rest, and then he'll return for boulder number 2.
we were talking about that same concept yesterday, flipped. A couple of us were saying we were sitting in the isolation area and our friends weren't coming back from the boulders before the time ended. So that kind of put the pressure on, and oh, these boulders, they're really hard. Like, I'm going to go out there and it's going to be stout.
Well, that is our starting list. Top 20 make it through. Kokoro Fuji will climb last. He qualified first. And for the women, Sophia Yokoyama, she was out first. She qualified last for the semi-finals. But as we can see, it doesn't really matter because she flashed the boulder straight away. And then Natalia Grossman, she'll be out last, followed by Stasha Geo, who had an amazing round. 5, both Natalia and Stasha climbing all 5 of the quali boulders. So loads of climbing, a lot of stars to come. And after this semi-final will be the final here tonight in South Korea. It is Satone Yoshida, part of Team Japan, and there are so many male Japanese athletes in this semi-final.
Yes, there are. It's pretty cool. Their dominance on the circuit is very impressive.
It's always worth remembering with the Japanese athletes, usually, because we haven't been on Asian soil since 2019, usually they're travelling.
Yes.
They've had the domestic flight almost. They've had the easy travel to get here.
They have had the easiest travel, yes, to get here.
Makes a change, not battling jet lag.
Yes.
And you can see the result of it because they are packed, especially for the men. That is Great Britain's Emily Phillips out on the mats. Gets the first swing nicely. We'll now look to go over to right into the zone.
A little bit like the speed change there on the first boulder for the men. Kind of slow into the zone, and then a couple of these boys have been turning up the speed to get into it. It's always kind of tricky to calm down and then turn it up at the right time. Oh.
So Emily Phillips getting sideways. Doesn't work it out that time, and Gregor Bozonik is back in action, grunting his way through this boulder problem.
First look at boulder 2 for both the men and the women.
Yeah, pinch strength required for this. It's quite a wide pinch as well.
Wide and bad, I will say. Looking at this boulder, it was pretty hard to read, so yeah.
So the athlete ran into the beginning there, Afra running in, but you can't be moving on those holds, you have to control it.
Yes. You saw her tuck up the toe into this left circle to kind of stop her momentum there. Really, really nice from Afra. So really, really strong here to hold that very bad dish.
Yeah, the first one hasn't got anything on it. The second has got a little jib screwed in.
And what makes all of that even harder is these feet are so low profile and bad that you're really on your hands and you really have to work to move your body position along and move with your hips. It's really easy to get kind of left behind there.
Absolutely. So Satone Yoshida gets stood up again. He now starts his journey out towards the right, but starting to rush that beginning a bit. Minute 43, he has got time, and you need to be slow through that first section.
That's the thing with standing on dual techs as well. It can feel good, and then all of a sudden it's boom, gone, you're on the mat.
I don't think it's ever felt good for me. I don't know what you're talking about. It's always terrible. But it is something the route setters are doing more and more of.
Yes.
And we're starting to see pure non-friction holds as well.
Yes. Pure non-friction holds that you're supposed to grab as well, I will say.
You guys are just getting too strong. That's what's happening.
They're going to have to come up with dual techs 2.0, something that...
Oh, don't tell them that.
It's even slipperier.
Greased up holds. That'll be next. So, a minute on the clock. You can hear that buzzer going off, letting the athletes know they've only got a minute left. Gregor will be loving this moment. I mean, he was convinced he wasn't going to be here, so the chance to climb again, he'll be relishing it.
You can hear him like grunting up there, trying to engage this power try hard on this boulder. He needs it too. Standing up again.
Yeah, the size of this wall is really impressive. When you see the athlete in that picture standing there, you realize how high it is. It doesn't, as you said, doesn't go all the way to the top, but still. And Gregor just on the right of your screen there, swinging around. Ishika coming down, and Emily Phillips not managing to make this first move work. Gregor calls it a day. He'll leave the stage, saving a bit of skin and energy for later. And Afra as well. She returns back to the isolation area.
Santone back up on the slab. He definitely wants that zone. Oh, so close.
And that won't count. He can't just grab for it.
You see athletes try again closer to when the time's running out, when they haven't gotten that zone hold, because some points is definitely much better than no points, so it's worth trying until the last second.
And that is the curtain back to the isolation area. No one's allowed back there. I tried to go back there actually, and I was kicked out by the by our South Korean friends, and it's fair enough because the athletes need peace and quiet in that area just to prepare themselves. Laura Rogora on stage from Italy.
And Nikolai Uzanik on the men's one.
Nikolai's in good form at the moment, looking very strong yesterday.
Really consistent in Meiringen as well.
So Laura gets her semi-finals off.
This is creative. Standing up into the corner instead of pressing. Okay. I feel like Laura is really good at finding the best way for her. I know it's not easy to do a boulder your way, but she's good at finding it.
Yeah, she's not known for her dynamic sequences necessarily. She often has to work out more static ways of doing it, figuring it out. We've seen that.
Nikolai here is trying the other foot on the stand-up on the slab. That was interesting. Oh, Victor.
Yeah, Victor unleashing the power as he locks in the heel on that zone hold. And now the top is in sight. It's so close. Out with the right, he's going to match, and that is going to be his first top. He's got the zone on the first one, so it's a top and a zone.
Very impressive from Victor. The tension there to go out to that finish hold and maintain the strength through the shoulders, very impressive. Yeah. It's easy to kind of like have your hand on the finish and kind of disengage, and Victor really followed through there. It was very cool.
Sophia is struggling to get into the starting positions. You have to control that. You can't just run in and go. And it's quite a stretchy start, that, so we'll have to see how she does. Laura, meanwhile, is back on. Jumps out with the left, beautifully holds it.
Nikolai up as well, standing on that start hold.
He'll work his way towards that volume, but keeps losing the feet.
I feel like Laura will like the top of this boulder.
It's a shame for him because it took a while for him to figure out that middle sequence, and then did it so easily once he got the moves down.
There's some complexity there with that press, and that kind of complexity sometimes takes an extra attempt, and of course on a boulder like that, that's a lot of time.
So Gregor leaves, back to the isolation area. Sophia is out again, leading the way. Now, the run on this wall, it's a long run.
It's a long way, yes. You get over to the boulder and you realize that 15 seconds are already gone from just trying to get out there.
It's unfair. I mean, these guys have to climb as well. I mean, they're not runners. They need one of those airport-style moving walkways, I think.
Yes.
I'll suggest it for next time. So Victor from Canada just cleans up the bottom volume. Sophia as well.
I think in comps nowadays, brushing is really important. The texture of the holds definitely diminishes as more people climb. So,
but it is hard though, because starting on, look, we're 50 seconds into this.
Yes.
Sophia hasn't climbed yet; she's just brushed.
I feel like brushing is also a good way to get a sense of the boulder. So Sophia is probably there brushing as well as reading. So it's not completely wasted time. And between attempts, you need to rest anyway. So not a bad time to use the brush as well.
Look at the strength from her. She hangs off, pinching that blue volume, and he's come out left. The kind of boulder that will suit her.
Here's Chloe Koskoi. Quick work of that first move.
Yeah, Chloe really up and coming at the moment.
Yes.
Some good competitions.
It was her first bouldering World Cup in Meiringen. 10th place. Super impressive start for her.
How intimidating is it coming into this senior circuit?
I think it's very intimidating, but Chloe has been ready for a couple of years now. I know she first qualified for the team in 2020 and didn't get a chance to do any World Cups that year, so she's super excited. And she just topped out that boulder, so I mean, a fantastic start to her semifinal. Similar in Meiringen, she also topped the first boulder of her semifinal, and I know for Chloe that sets her off on a good track of positivity and excitement. So
absolutely great start from her. Victor now from Canada,
looking good in this corner. I feel like this is a pretty good position to get over to the top hold.
It looks like from this angle you could almost crimp between those volumes, but there's not really much there.
Where he is, you can get a bit of a pinch on that stack, but it's certainly not very good. A big swing there from Victor, falling a little bit face first.
That's it, yeah, he dropped out of our screen face first, didn't he? He's all right. Sean McCall, what a legend he is. Back in the semi-finals. Olympic athlete, of course. How much would he love to be in another finals?
Oh my gosh, yeah, Sean would love that. He climbed really well yesterday. A lot of dominance on the boulders that he topped. Looked really solid.
Yeah, one of the more experienced members here in South Korea, and really a mentor for the rest of the Canadian team.
Nikolai back up on men's two. Super strong. Okay.
Matches the top beautifully. Look at that, no problems.
You can see how open that top hold was. Not super good. I know he fell there just a few minutes ago on his other attempt.
Well, here is Sean McCall. Right foot on the tech surface. He's got to be careful. Looks for the foot swap. The problem is if you get your toes on the shiny bit, it's so easy to quickly pop off. Pads his feet across, making room. Lovely climbing from Sean. He's experienced. He'll know to take his time in this section. Crimping the very corner of that volume. It amazes me every time I watch one of these competitions what the athletes think they can hold.
Yes. And what they actually can as well. I mean, screw holes, edges of walls, edges of volumes, it's all on, and oftentimes the climbers make better use of it than you would think.
Yeah, it's a bit of a game, I always think, between the route setters and the climbers.
I'm just waiting for holds that screw on from the back of the wall, so there's no there's no screw holes and no edges and stuff.
It's the future. It's the future. Laura gets stood up, stretched out. So, yeah, that beginning, frustrating. And it's all about keeping your frustrations in check, knowing that it will come. You've just got to find the sequence.
Making good adjustments between attempts as well. Here's Victor. Same position as before. We'll know he'll want to do something a little bit better than last time, but I think it's very sick.
How did he make that work? Got two hands instead of that one right that didn't work before.
More engaged as well, a little bit less of a swing. Really good commitment there from Victor. I know it's when you're in that corner, it's so comfortable and it feels really hard to like then go and commit out of that.
And he's in first position at the moment. We've got a long way to go, of course, but 2 zones and a top is a great start from him. Sean leaves. The clock ticks down.
The transition time is new this year, and it seems really great. 15 seconds for the wall to clear before the next round of climbers comes out.
Feels less rushed, doesn't it?
Well, it feels less like somebody's going to fall on somebody else as they run out to the boulders. But, I mean, we get those buzzer beater finishes, and then, yeah, people running out underneath is not so good.
No, not what you want.
Two Germans here on the wall.
And Max climbed quite late yesterday.
Yes, he did.
He did get some good conditions, but hopefully he'll be well rested for this.
Roxana said she loved the round yesterday. Got some pancakes this morning with her at the hotel.
Is that a athlete diet
Yeah,
tip there?
exactly.
Any clue on the filling of the pancake?
Just plain American pancakes with syrup.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Really good.
No blueberry, all right.
That was really nice from Roxana there. She just floated through the 2 purple hold to the zone. Really, really nice. We saw some other girls like really grab and control that first purple ball on the blue volume, but Roxana like kind of monkey barred through it, chose to just use her momentum to carry her over to the zone.
So Max is stood up on the starting hold. Again, like Sean, making room for his feet and then stretching out towards that zone hold. Gets it, and then you just got to keep the swing. The barn door is hard to stop, isn't it?
We saw a few of the other athletes put their right hand on the zone and their left hand pressing, and that's maybe a little bit better position to stop some sort of barn door.
Now I'm glad we get to see M4 here, because that is Gregor going upside down, bat hanging at the beginning. Spectacular.
They love the bat hang in comps. It's a very like showy kind of fun move. They've done it a few times now. We had a bat hang yesterday in the qualification.
Yeah, we saw that
a
during
tricky
that
one too.
qualification video, and
Yes.
Natalia's shaking her way through
Yes.
that. So hard to keep the tension.
It's so different to climb upside down and to use your feet like that. It's really learned and really tricky.
So Satone is in the corner, and he's looking in control at the moment, but this we know is the hard move. We saw Victor stay in this position for a long time just now.
Also a little bit stretched out there. We saw Victor and Gregor both move their foot in, just like that. Awesome. So getting that foot in gets you a little bit closer to that top hold, which is, we saw the big swing from Victor earlier. You definitely want to get as close as possible.
Yeah, Satone looked like he'd worked out everything, and then just at the last moment looked like he was slipping a bit and decided for the jump. So women's 4 is another slab.
Yep, this one's steep. Dead vert, 0 degrees. So slab, but no leaning in. Just and we see some bigger profile holds on that as well.
Yeah, and the start is quite interesting on that. We'll chat about it in a minute when we see it. Max, again, is stood up. Haven't seen too many tops of this first problem. No, just
using
his
that
thumb on
corner
the edge.
again, just for balance. Tenuous foot match. Okay, back in this position. We'll see what he does.
You can see just crimping the edge of it on nothing. And
Much
this time
better
stops
there.
the swing with the palm.
Yes. You can see all the shoe rubber underneath that zone.
So he's going to work his way up, gets the heel in, which is a nice method, and so close to holding that. For a heartbeat, I thought he had it.
Just loses the balance there a little bit.
So let's watch a replay. As Max just gets himself chalked up and ready. So this is the top going up from Roxanne, matching the top.
Super nice.
Gets it done. And there is Brooke back in action on women's 2, nearing the top.
This is the highest we've seen on women's 2, I think. Very nice.
So is Brooke on for a top here, chalks up, takes her time. Out she comes for the dish and just misses it. I thought she was in there.
Those white holds are really hard to tell the texture, the like depth of the grip, because they're the same color as the chalk. So I feel like on colored holds, usually you get a little bit better of an idea. Santone going all the way to the zone there, not doing the shoulder out of Lochet.
True. Misses the hold, now presses his way up.
Running out of time. Not out of time yet, though.
It's going to be close, though. He's going to have to move here. Gets that right foot, needs to bring the left foot in, really. Otherwise, it's a heck of a jump. He's going to go for the big jump. Yeah. Snatches for it, not quite enough. He will leave. As that transition time we chatted about ticks down. Let's see that again then. So Max is top, got the heel in. He came so close to the time before. Left hand, right hand, matches, controls.
Clever beta there. I like that. The heel balancing out, having a little bit of opposition there. Pull the hips over.
That is our stadium, and it's spectacular. Behind us, there's a waterfall. That's the front. Speed was the other evening. We saw 2 world records being broken during the qualification period and a fantastic final, so do go and watch that if you haven't already. And there is our boulder wall. The athletes and audience members sitting in that cordoned off section. So Kylie Cullen is on stage, and Kylie I've been watching come through for a while now. She was fantastic during the youth championships in Voronezh.
Really strong season on the adult circuit last year as well. Every semifinal, so.
Seems to be gaining confidence as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Laura back on the mats, women's 3.
Nikolai on men's 3.
Now
We talked about that start being a little bit tricky there to put the feet on and actually control that position. That rule has changed in the past few years. You're no longer allowed to just throw all 4 limbs on the wall and move through it. You definitely have to stop and control that position with your hips. So.
And it changes the way you do that first
Yes.
move, but yeah, we'll see that in a sec. So there's Kylie swinging over, lovely.
Swinging again, very nice. Using that momentum to carry her over into the zone.
Now it just takes a moment to figure this out. It's a pretty good hold, she can wait on it, but it's a big move up and right. So Yuji Inouye on the left, another Japanese member. I don't remember how many.
2 of 7?
Yeah, exactly. Is there 7? Yeah, something like that. There's a lot of Japanese athletes. 8, I count.
Wow.
8 Japanese athletes for men.
Easily stood up there for Yuji. Wow, what? That that foot match looked so hard from some other people, and he just tiptoed his way across.
I think what is a good way of describing that. How did he make that work? And again, that shouldn't be possible, but now he stood up. Final move.
Okay, setting up.
Can't get the flash.
Yep. I have no doubt that he'll be able to get there again, though, so that's good.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time and seems in control on that.
Okay, Kylie moving into the black hold. A little bit of a different beta there. We saw some girls earlier use the toe hook out on the purple to then pull their hips up into the black with their feet on. Kylie did more of a dynamic campus to the hold. Obviously, both options super viable.
Nikolai on this last move. I mean, no, it's all about getting the right foot and then left through. Oh, it decides to go left foot through first. And it leaves you in a tricky position, this, because by kicking that right, you're immediately going to generate a bit of a swing.
This is what we saw Victor do as well.
Oh, slow
Really
and
nice
careful.
there.
Gets it, yeah, with that undercling
Clever
hand.
to grab the undercling of that. Hold him in.
Gets himself set up, crimping the edge of that hold. Taking his time. All of his right foot smeared on that wall. And there is a moment where you have to start going, don't you? It's not static all the way.
He decided to pull up a little bit onto that right hold, and or the big red foothold before he jumped. We'll see what he tries next time. Kylie making quick work up to the top.
Yeah, looking almost disappointed. I think she might have wanted to flash that more quickly. Climb it more quickly, I should say. Let's see a replay.
Of Yuji, okay.
Yuji, up he goes.
Wow, super nice.
And you can see the OK being signalled down at the bottom of the screen for him. So Victor goes upside down. This bat hang move gets a heel in. Slaps for the hand and makes it work. But he's only got, he's got a minute left. Look at that left leg, battered and bruised from the qualification round.
really good round for Victor so far. You know he wants, I mean, as much as possible, so a zone or a top here would be super helpful. Nikolai pressing up again. Seems like if you do this press right, it's not so bad. We've seen quite a few climbers get up there now.
Yeah, those first moves, not really a problem.
That's a good angle.
It shows how flat that surface is he has to stand on. And there is the
And
top.
how squished you are into that corner.
Slightly different method from him. He underclinged it before. And guppies that edge of the red volume instead. Laura leaves the stage, and Sophia now on the business end of this slab. The problem is you've got to start moving slowly here, and she hasn't really got the time. 5 seconds, snatches for the crimp, doesn't make it. So a top and a zone will be her score for the semi-finals.
Seems like time is going to be a factor here in the semi-final. We've seen quite a few climbers get up near the tops when their time is ticking down.
That is the waterfall that's at the back of our stadium. And it's a lovely feature, especially when it's hot. It blows nice, cool air through the stadium.
Korean celebrity here, Jongwon.
There is Jongwon Chon.
Yeah.
We talked to him yesterday, and he said that making a finals would be a dream for him.
I feel like in Korea, climbing is pretty popular, and everybody seems really excited to see him out here competing in a home country.
Yeah, it's getting bigger. He said he's finding these competitions harder. He's not sure if the competition is getting better or if he's getting older, which I thought was honest. But one of my favourites as Jongwon gets stood up. And from France, it's Flavie Corot. Swinging out and right. Again, that tricky start proving difficult. Jongwon padding his way through. Look at that for control.
Patience.
That shows his experience. Figure out that next section, I'm sure. As our camera pans up, show a bit of Seoul behind the stadium.
Ooh, close there from Flavie.
And Brooke, one move away. Big pop up to the jib, holds it. Nearly makes the match, but not quite. And
Max hyping up the crowd. That's awesome.
He's such a showman, isn't
Yes.
he? I like a calm, controlled athlete. I do. But I also like a bit of Max-style action in there.
I like it. Adds a little bit of personality, you know?
Exactly.
People talk about, I don't know, personally, I feel like climbing is such a cool sport to watch because of that personality. And the more you watch, the more you see the nuance in style, in attitude, and everything.
Very, very true. And there is Emily Phillips from Great Britain, part of 2 members of Team GB. We just talked about him, Max, the other one. Emily now getting stood up. She's doing well. She'd love to get a top here. Has 2 zones already on her score. Left hand through. And stopping this barn door is going to be tricky. She's got to remove that left hand. It's stretching up.
Oh,
Has she got the reach for this? That is clever. Left thumb's in action. Matches it. That's not going to be controlled enough.
not enough.
Well figured out though from her.
I wonder if she'll try that stretch again, or if she'll move over into the right foot that's directly under the finish hold.
Might be worth watching for the taller athletes though who get to that move, whether that's an easier way for them. Flavie holds the swing this time, much better, more controlled. Nice this angle, we can see 2 of the boulders at once. Into the pinch, the thumbs in action.
Super nice, wow.
Rotates the feet through, 1 move away, and once she got that first move dialed, she just seemed to have it programmed into her brain. Got the top. And Brooke is back on this move. She dropped it before. Will she have adjusted as she prepares herself for the pop?
Super nice. Hit the right hand perfectly over that jib and engaged the left thumb on that pinch. Just stopped her swing out from the wall. And we talked about how steep that panel is that she's on. So it's no surprise that that swing is pretty big there to the finish.
Absolutely. So Jongwon, oh, tiptoes up, just shakes for a moment, nearly holds. the balancing point, doesn't quite. And there's Max, that left shoulder taped up. Left heel, and then brings his left hand through almost in slow motion. Right foot dancing up the volume.
I'm really impressed by these men on this boulder. It looked so hard when I was reading it, and they're making quick work of the moves into the zone. Just kind of shows you how deep the field is and how strong every single climber are.
Absolutely. And there's a list of athletes who haven't made it, who could easily be climbing in this semi-final. Emily Phillips is trying the stretch again. Left hand, she's got her left foot slightly higher up this time. Trying to pinch that hold. She needs to bring the right hand up and control it.
This will be her last attempt. Oh, just not enough.
I think she'll be dreaming about that move.
Yep.
Dropping the top so close. Zhongwon still trying. He's never going to stop climbing. He's that man in front of his home crowd.
Oh, so close. We saw him crimping the screw hole of that foothold. We talked about it before, but everything is on, and even the smallest little edge can make a difference.
That is Seoul, where we've been hosted for the last couple of days. Wonderful to be back in Asia. The athletes enjoying it. I've been enjoying it, and I hope you have back home as well. Kylie's running through, and Luka Rakovic comes out onto the stage for the first time in this semi-final.
Luchka's birthday a few days ago. She turned 21. Kind of a cool place to have your birthday, all your friends and everything.
Yeah.
And to make the semi-final. That's a good birthday present to herself.
Exactly. The athletes are all coming out in front of our commentary box. It's great to see. Victor comes out to big hugs from Team Canada.
He really climbed awesome. It's really great for him.
Yeah, he did well. So our second South Korean athlete is out, Dohan Lee. And Laura is on her final boulder, women's 4. And look at that angle. I mean, you realize how far she's got to go.
And this is a better view of that start that we were talking about. Sometimes with a skate across move like this, you get a really good hold to start on. But for this women's boulder, that first hold is pretty terrible, which makes it just that much harder to generate the momentum across. Nikolai with some interesting beta there.
Yeah, well, it's funny because when I first walked up to that boulder, that's what I thought you might have to do. And it was you who was like, no, you have to turn around. So Kylie struggling with the start, and this is going to be huge for the crowd. If Doyeon can get this done, and he does. Doyeon Lee from South Korea makes his first top, and you can hear that audience appreciation. They're still screaming.
Still. Super nice, yeah.
Yuji can't quite figure out the top, and Kylie is struggling with the bottom at the moment.
This is clever from Kylie there, to span between that foothold, quote unquote, and the start. That's kind of what I read. And if you've got the reach for it, it's a good way to maintain that controlled position and set the foot versus what we saw Afra do earlier where she ran in. It's just a different option.
Sean McCall with the big left heel in the press. Gets a zone on this. So he's off onto the scoreboard. How will he work this out now? He's in a good position.
Up in that corner, like we've seen before.
That forearm pressing into the wall.
Okay, this is the left foot through. Okay, that's a little different than what we've seen.
Not sure that's going to work out for him. He's looking to kind of pop over to it now because he can't do much with that left foot. Now, you can see the thought process. He's going for the jump, but it's all because you have to jump around the corner.
Yes, and a bit scary. You're quite up there on the like on the wall.
Luchka, as you said, gives herself another birthday present. Tops out.
Tops out the first boulder.
Janja Garnbret isn't here at this World Cup. She's decided not to compete in any more this season. She won the first one, of course, in Meiringen. And tell me, look, Natalia, and I don't want to talk about favourites here because it is tricky, and Janja, of course, can be beaten. But for someone like Natalia, she's probably the favourite now for this competition.
I would say so.
Do you think, how is that affecting her? Is she dealing with the pressure or is she enjoying?
I think she's enjoying it. Natalia has, in my opinion, one of the best mental games on the circuit. Like her ability to execute and her ability to handle these high pressure situations is just incredible. So not only is she like well versed, but she's practiced and she knows what she has to do and she knows what she wants to do, and yeah, she'll do it.
And of course we'll see Natalia in action later on. She'll be the last female athlete out onto the stage, having qualified first.
Even yesterday we saw that from Natalia. Her execution on the boulders was incredible. I think she flashed most of them, which is really impressive in a round like that.
Yeah, she's in great form, isn't she?
Kylie gets set up again. Kylie might like this boulder. A little bit more vertical, really like tricky. I mean, Kylie's good at it all, but.
And that starting hold looks like a bit of a checkerboard. The white sections is dual text, black is friction. Friction, is that a word? It is now. Yuji in the middle, in the zone.
That was a good view of those first few moves into the zone. Made, amazing work of them.
Now he's got this big shouldery move to go out towards the flat top. Gets the palm on it and a huge fall down towards chalk. Gets covered in chalk on the way down as well, coughing as he would.
Okay, Sean McCall with the top and a big scream. That's awesome.
I think that meant something to Sean McCall. Gets the top on M3. Yep. Huge for him.
We saw him hop out to that finish hold a little bit better. Maybe he got up in a better position, but hitting that top hold with both hands engaged seems to be the key to avoid the big swing off.
So that's finished our round. That's our waterfall. It's artificial, gets switched on. Chuncheon back in action from South Korea. And then Flavie brushes her boulder. And for the first time, Tomoe Narasaki joins us for his semi-final. So we're about midway through by now. I did tell you it would get hectic, and it has. 8 athletes climbing at the same time. A bit different from Meiringen, where we split the semi-final. This is all together.
I'm excited to watch Tomoe on the slab. He's just such a good slab climber that I think he'll make quick work.
So Max is fully upside down. Brooks on the right, Max on the left. And Brooke generating that. Brooke holding the bad hold, as you said,
yes,
to start with. It's just hard to generate that power towards the left.
That was a good attempt from Brooke, though. Got her hand up onto the pink hold and just little adjustments from there to stick it.
Chuncheon gets closer. He's 2 moves away. 1 move now. Needs to slap out right towards the top. No top so far for him. Can he get underway? Looks like he's going to. He needs to match it, and he does. Almost celebrating before he finished. Appreciation from the crowd as Chuncheon gets on the scoreboard.
That was nice. We saw him, a few other athletes pick up their foot into the zone before going to the finish, and Jeonwon used just the right foot, which honestly put him in what seems like a better position.
And there is Tomoe. You wanted to see it. Here he is.
Here he is.
Slab climbing wizard. Oh, just slips, leaving a big rubber mark on that red volume. And a top.
She looks excited about that.
She does. It was well done. Just waits for confirmation. That was Mia getting that done.
Okay, Brooke up here on the slab. Brooke's really good on her toes.
I don't think she's going to have the height for the stretch we saw Emily do. And this is the actual method, getting your right foot up and then pressing it. It is definitely easier if you can do that. Brooke finishes things off. 3 tops out of 4 for her.
Very nice.
Is that going to be enough? It's so hard to tell, isn't it, at this stage? I'm not going to call it, but she's done well. Tomoe now. Oh, holds that. How did he hold that? There's not much on that right hand, as you can see. Great angle there. Gets stood up. Now, a little pop. It should be okay. Oh, and then slips as he goes towards it and immediately grabs the brush.
Yes. You can see the texture of those holds is just getting worse throughout this round. So Max setting up the foot lead. It's a little bit funny, starting facing the crowd always.
Yeah, needs some leg muscles. That's like a bicycle. He's just,
These moves are sometimes a bit reachy as well. We saw that even in the Olympics this year, that it's hard to get the toes up there if it's too far away.
Absolutely, yeah. Good toe rubber needed to make those moves work. Flavie in this tricky to start sometimes position. She makes it look far easier than it is. Palms out towards the right on the volume.
Super nice.
Yeah, gets stood up with the pinch, matches the pinch. She's aiming for the jib on that black dish, which she gets.
Good precision there.
Out with the right again. It's almost pocket climbing this. And a minute to go. She'll have time for a few more.
We saw Brooke get a left foot up there before she popped up to that next dish. I wonder if Flavie will try that.
So we watched Tomoa slip on this move. Doesn't look like he will this time, and a lovely pop up to get that done.
I think he could have jumped 2 feet further to the top hold.
Yeah, he timed the dyno perfectly because you want to be coming down at the right moment on a jump like that. And Max now starting the swing.
Close. The lâché moves are always interesting, like the hack around the drop down. That's no longer allowed in IFSC.
Max comes down hard. 10 seconds. He's going to finish things off there. Let's see his score in a bit. If you want to follow along with live scoring, if you're watching, you can download the IFSC app that constantly updates you. Football going on behind, climbing in front. And very peaceful walking through. When you approach this stadium, you walk through those trees. You can hear the crowd cheering as you walk through. It turns from a peaceful park into a roaring arena. Luchka back on stage on women's 2. That is Dohan Lee. And Tomoaki Takata from Japan is back in action. Is in action for the first time, I should say.
It's great to see Tomoaki back on the circuit. I know he was climbing in 2019. He's always so fun to watch, and he's also really engaged in cheering for his teammates and everything, and that always makes it more fun.
Seoul Sa from South Korea again. She's on women's 1. So we pan across our stage, and it pretty much goes in order, this. So the first boulder is on the left, last boulder is on the right. Clocks at the top of the wall so the athletes can see it. And I like the colour scheme, big grey swathes of climbing wall. Looks good.
The setters are always very thoughtful of which order the boulders are in, because that really defines the round more than you would think. They play mind games on you sometimes.
And I tell you what, it's decided late, that as well.
Yes.
Often I'm asking which is which an hour before the competition. They haven't quite figured it out yet. Seoul Sa does well with the left hand. One move away, makes it look easy. She's off and running. A quick send from her with 3 minutes 20 left. Oh, so close to that top. Dohan Lee being cheered on but can't make it work.
It's so hard to get that close to the top hold and not especially because you have so much climbing to do to get back up there.
Yeah, and so little time to do it in.
You see Chloe up here. I wonder if she'll try the reach to the top. She is one of the taller competitors, and she's really good at seeing those kinds of beta breaks.
And she does break it. Look at that, stretched out.
Awesome. Chloe's going to feel good about that. That's awesome.
And we saw Emily Phillips trying that earlier, didn't quite have the height. Tomoaki across.
Good footwork there. Really clean.
Yeah, and this is always a bit of a snatched move. He does it very controlled.
Wow, that was impressive. We haven't seen anybody bring the left hand over to that zone first because the barn door is so strong. But Tomoaki made it work.
Yeah, and then pops off the same move as Tomoa did. Almost identical on that grey volume.
I liked how little he adjusted his feet. It seemed like he placed them and believed that they were going to stick, which, you know, maybe that's a good idea. Learn from that.
So Yuji shouting at the wall. Can't make that swing work. It's such a hard start because you can't tap and go, as we were saying earlier. You have to get in a static position and then start the swing. And we'll watch him here as he pulls on. So he has to bring his feet through, statically start and then go. And that is Do-Han Lee back in action again. We thought this was the hardest boulder for the men. Certainly in terms of physicality it might be. Luchka stretched out. Palming that hold. Do-Han Lee is getting close. 2 moves to go. He'll have to bring his left through to that crimp, the white crimp on the blue volume, which he does. Right foot on the smear on the grey volume, and 1 move away for him. We know there could be a nasty fall here though. Can he keep it together for this final move? Looks at it, checks it out, 58 seconds to go, and pops the foot as he comes down. Unlucky from him, but he will go again.
To do that boulder 3 times. Crazy. Just gets harder and harder the more attempts it takes.
Yeah, exactly. The physicality required for that.
Yuji back up in that corner that we've seen before. He looks to be set up well.
Yeah, taking his time. You got to have a cup of tea up there. And here's the top, just drying his hands, shaking out.
Taking a breath.
Is it a sport route or a boulder?
Yeah.
Resting well though, and that's intelligent climbing
Yes.
from him to take that
Yes.
moment.
It shows a lot of maturity and composure. And
Absolutely, didn't quite work though. And he knew as well that was going to be his final attempt. By waiting that long, you have to get it done.
yeah.
So the round ends, the buzzers beat down. Judges raise their scorecards towards the athletes. And let's see a replay. This was the top from Tomoaki. Makes it work.
So nice. Looks really easy when when he did it there.
Always does,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
of course.
Outdoor climbing or indoor climbing, it doesn't matter. When you send the thing,
It's-
you do wonder what the problem was.
That's why videos of climbing are always funny to watch when you've actually tried the boulders.
I've been trapped many a time. Max walking past us gave me the shaky thumbs up. He's cautiously optimistic perhaps. A long way to go, and the athletes now will be scrolling through their phones as the scores are updated, seeing who's going to make it through. Look at that, everyone brushing at once. Michi Narasaki, another Japanese athlete back in action on this slab. And then Jessie Piltz, great to see her in the semi-final, missed out in Meiringen.
Yes. Wow, Meichi, that was super impressive. Wow,
Meichi,
crazy footwork there.
yeah, this is
Just confidence.
a masterclass from him, and makes look at the toe to catch that.
Master class is the word, yes.
All right, fair enough. Well, that was
Fair
easy.
enough. Flash.
Yep, job done.
His brother, Tomoa. It's cool, competing. IFSC World Cup semi-final with your brother.
Yeah, we had sisters in the speed,
Yes.
brothers in the boulder.
Tomoa working his way up towards the top. We've seen this before.
Yeah, couldn't hold that. I think he might get it the second time though. Jessie rocks up on the heel, makes
Really
the pop.
nice.
Strong from her.
Easily to the jug.
It's a big jug. I mean, that
It's
is
a
one of the
big
jugs
jug,
we were talking
yes.
about.
One of the few. It's kind of nice. Really strenuous, tough boulder, ending in a finish that you know you'll stick.
I think every finish should be a jug. I'm not quite at your level though, so you know. So Mai up to the top. Look at that. Looks like she was going to
Wow.
go dynamically do it and almost staticked up there.
I don't think it's over quite yet, though.
Yeah, she's got a
This
match.
There she goes. Really nice from Mia.
Yeah, and Team Japan.
That's the first top of that boulder, I think.
Roxanne across, misses that right toe.
Plenty of time, 2 minutes 30 on the clock. Getting up there that soon in her 5 minutes is a good sign. She'll get another attempt up there.
That was that swing we were talking about, which is difficult
Yes.
to generate, and we
Yes.
saw an example of that
Yes. With the, I mean, yeah, we call it like a lache, and what you really want to do is toss the hold over your head as you swing under to throw your hips like down and in as close to the wall as possible. And you can kind of like imagine it as this curve. So as you swing out and swing in, you want to load your hips as close to the wall as possible to then spring back up.
That's some brilliant analysis there. Throwing the hold, that is so good. I can picture that.
It's funny because even just the thought of that while you're trying a move like that helps immensely.
I'm going to try that next time I'm in the gym. That's brilliant. So Roxanne, right foot out. That toe has been created by stacking two holds together, and I think she's got to be more precise with the toe. She's almost it's almost trying to edge it rather than the toe.
Oh.
Tomoa again drops the top.
We maybe saw somebody else on that slab also match one of those small green crimps, so that's also potentially an option there.
Yeah, lots of options. So Jeongwon stretched out. He needs to bring that left foot through, really. As he presses out, he keeps looking up at the top hole, willing it to get closer, and it won't. Right foot up.
I love that angle from the side there. You can just see how awkward it is. Ooh, this is new.
Yeah, dropping down. Is he crimping that? He is crimping that. Oh. Jeongwon being creative there. There's not a lot on that hold he's trying to crimp.
It looked promising to do it that way.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if anyone else uses that, dropping down. But then you've got to generate some power up again.
Yes.
Max upside down, almost resting in that Tetris fall style. Down he goes. And that is our leader Boulder on the right. So Brooke Rabatou leading the way with 3 tops and 1 zone. The scoring indicated if you get a top, it gets filled up with yellow. If you get a zone, it's halfway.
This looks better. She has the right hand on the green hold. Oh, quick foot match over. Doesn't quite work.
Aiming for 6 finalists, of course.
Too bad for Tomoa. Definitely would have wanted a top on that boulder.
Yeah, he leaves the stage. I thought he was going to get it. He's so good at making adjustments on the fly when he's dropped a move. That crowd was for Jeongwon. You can just see picking himself up. Yeah, he fell off that top move, last to leave the stage. The buzzer beeps down. You can see our volunteers moving the brushes back, making everything neat and ready for the next set of athletes. Jeongwon walking very slowly off. He might be a little hurt, perhaps. He did come down heavily from that fall. Now exits the stage. You can see how long that run is.
Probably just trying to bring his heart rate down again. Like the adrenaline and the rush and everything. You kind of, when you walk back into that isolation area, you want to recover as much as possible. And a big part of that is bringing down that excitement, bringing down that heart rate, so then you can come back out with like a fresh mind and a little bit more recovered body. 5 minutes isn't a lot of time, so it goes by quick.
This is why I love having an athlete in the commentary box with me. These little insights we get to hear. Really good to know. Yoshiyuki Ogata, another Japanese member, gets stood up, left foot pressing. And how is he going to be doing this slab?
It's 4 Japanese in a row for the men. 4 of 8.
4 of 8, yeah.
Futaba getting started on women's one.
Yeah, Futaba Ita.
Super nice.
So good in Meiringen.
Yes. Such a quick top from Yoshiki as well.
Yeah, a big yes from him to get that done quickly. And Futaba as well, doing well. Futaba Ito, it's certainly one to look out for if you're thinking about the Olympics in a few years' time. Up she goes with a big left slap.
Missed the jib on that purple hold, but created the compression anyways.
Who needs it? Finishes it quickly. Futaba Ito off to a flying start.
Big smile. She looks really excited. I love seeing like how happy she is when she climbs. She's one of my favorites to watch.
There's a few with, I'm thinking Natalia as well.
Yes.
Always smiling.
Being set up. That was really nice. You see, again, pushing, crimping on that bottom side of the start hold.
Yeah, getting pushed by the crowd now. She gets stood up. Solsat already's got a top to her name. Can she get 2 out of 2?
This move to the zone looks like it's part of the business. Wow, really static from Seoul. Very impressive. We saw some other athletes try a more dynamic method there, but that looked really strong.
Yeah, and she's now trying to work out the, brings the right hand through. Initially went up with the left, now gets the right, which does make sense. You can kind of pull down on it as you're going towards the left.
Tomoaki moving his way up on men's 2. Right at that finish. Trickiest move, it looks like. Let's see. Oh.
Yeah, you almost commit to it too much and then you got a big swing, or you do what he did, not quite go enough. Dong-Young Lee, we saw his feet swinging through the shot just now, and he's high up on this wall. It's all about this move with this boulder.
Oh. Pressing there with the arms to get the right foot.
And remember, Jeong Won-chon dropped down on this move.
But we've seen some others just hop both hands into the top hold.
Looks like he might be thinking about the drop down as well. You can see why you would think that, because the right hand's not too bad. The left is in that guppy position. And look, yeah, he's doing it as well.
Sort of a hip bar here.
Oh, loses the left for a second.
Oh.
He fell off for a long time then. He was definitely gone for about 5 seconds. See a replay here of the top. Kylie getting it done on women's 4, pressing upwards.
Super nice.
So 2 out of 4 for Kylie.
Okay, Tomoaki back at the top. Oh, this move looks so awkward. It's very interesting.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of big falls from the top of that move. I think whatever method you do, there's the possibility of a big fall up there.
It seems key to keep your hips parallel with the wall as well. So when you're swinging out into that shoulder move at the top, if your hips are coming away from the wall, it looks like there's not enough to hold on to. So the climbers that we've seen stick that, kind of kept it a little bit more in line.
Really struggling to get the swing on that. You can see he just went too far to the right in order to bring it into the left. Toe hook to start from Tomoaki.
Quick work through the bottom of this boulder. Very impressed.
Where his right foot is, there's a painted black section on that volume. I went and had a touch of that, and it is the same friction. I'm not sure why it is black.
Aesthetics. No.
True. I mean, look, we're in a beautiful stadium. Why not have a beautiful climbing wall as well? Yuji.
All 4 points on this.
It's just going round and round at the moment. Goes for another toe first method, foot first method. I want to see him do that again. Get him back on.
4 more minutes.
Yeah. So that's our leaderboard. Max Milne leading the way for Team GB, 2 tops and 1 zone, followed by Victor Baudran, who climbed early on and yet doing well. Down in the danger zone is Yuji Inoue at the moment in 6th place. Expect things to change. Still a long way to go, including an Olympic gold medalist in that men's top 20.
We might see attempts play a factor today as well. So those athletes that are getting these tops in these zones faster, if there's a tie with the number of tops and the number of zones, then that's what we decide by. So.
Yeah, and attempts being quite important during the qualifying as well.
Yes.
Lots of athletes just separated by that. Becoming more and more important to climb these boulders quickly, being efficient with it. Miho Nanaka dyed her hair blue in celebration of the South Korean World Cup. And again, she had a slightly disappointing session in Meiringen, so she'll be looking for a return to form here.
Miho came to train in Salt Lake City with us about before Meiringen, so about 2 months ago. It was really awesome to have her. Raises the level when you have just strong athletes coming through, so it's really fun for us.
Absolutely, of course, getting an Olympic medal in the summer. So Jeong Won-chon will be on his final boulder here. He'd love to finish this off with a bang. He's facing the right way.
You really have no feet here, so goes for the campus.
Great from Jeong Won, gets the left heel up now. Couple of moves away, resting his way through it, being nice and precise. Swinging through, looks through the knee bar in. Less of a knee bar, more of a knee scrub, but there it is in quite well.
Super nice.
I hadn't spotted that.
This finish is tricky. The top hold is right there, but getting in a position where you can control it is something else.
Looks like he should be almost putting his left foot out, but then it's hard to tell because he's being pushed out by the wall on that. Sam Avazu makes the top.
Oh, wow. That was cool. He wasn't as high on the top hold there, so to, I don't know, stay in it and stick it, that's cool. Jessie working her way up. Wow.
Yeah, very controlled movements from her.
So strong.
Now, yeah, a few athletes have gone up with the left and then changed to the right. Look at that splits move. Great flexibility from Jessie, as now drops that left through, pops up with the right hand. Figuring this out well.
Back into the split. Really nice from Jessie.
This boulder's required everything so far. Finger strength, flexibility, big moves, and now she's one match away from a top. Can she make it 2 out of 2? Left foot stands on the little jib. Matches the jib. Brilliant climbing from Jessie. So many moves in that sequence.
She's going to feel good about that. That's awesome. What is that? 2 tops for her? 2 boulders
Yeah, 2
down?
out of 2. So Flavie finishing off her competition now. Left foot pressing out. So this is, we know there's 2 ways of doing this. There's a stretch method, and she did something different trying to bring the left through.
I think in that position, trying to do something.
So that is Michi Narasaki with 1.5 minutes to go.
So strong in the slab from Michi. You'll know he'll want to continue that through the round.
Yeah, he's currently sitting in 9th. We see it's a good round so far. We've seen lots of tops, but not too many tops. Root setter's doing well. Look at that swing from Tomoe Narasaki. That would have been a nasty fall, but he makes it work well.
Super impressive there. Very interesting.
Yeah, excellent from him. That's the confirmation, and he's on the scoreboard. So,
Okay.
with the minute buzzer going, Michi drops that final move. Chuncheon back again. Watch how he does this. It's like slow motion climbing. Matches his way through, and this is the campus move. Knew what to do this time, so makes it quicker and cleaner.
Still so slow and composed.
Jeongwon climbs like the climber I'd like to be. When I watch him, I'm like, that's what I want to be doing. Knee bar.
Pressing into, that knee bar again. This is a great angle.
This is the move he struggled on. Pressing up.
So tenuous.
Yeah, really shouldery, and that's a big ask, having climbed 4 of these boulders.
Flavie back up there. Oh,
She's
maybe going for the stretch. She's oh, wow. Very nice.
Did she just grow? I don't know. I was about to say she's not going to have the height for it, and somehow she found some reach. Brilliant from her.
Intuitive climbing there. It really looked like she intended to do the foot switch again, and then, found a different way.
Yeah, and I think time playing a factor.
Yes.
I think if she had more time, she would have gone for the more traditional way.
Potentially, yeah.
So time counts down. Off the athletes go. And I think that is Alberto Hines Lopez in action on the left of your screen, the Olympic gold medalist, of course. There he is. Alberto's such an interesting character. He's certainly someone who I think the pressure gets to sometimes. And he's a bit hard on himself. But once he gets relaxed, once he starts getting some success, that's when he's climbing at his best.
It was really fun last night when he was climbing in the qualification. The Spanish team was cheering him on and hyping him up, and it was awesome. Certainly helps to have people behind you.
Absolutely. Team Spain, really big personalities on the circuit. So Alberto stood up. And next to him is Francisca Sterra. We're getting to the business end of this semi-final. Francisca qualifying in 5th position.
Making that foot match. Oh.
Yeah, he just bobbles it off.
Okay, Luchka getting set up for women's 4.
Yeah, she's eyeing up this one. Remember how bad that first handhold is.
Luchka's not a huge fan of dynamic movements, but she's really good at learning. So she's got plenty of time to make those adjustments.
Yeah, the dynamic thing, we see it come and go, really. Trends in climbing. A few years ago we had a lot of them, and now there's less of those big coordination dynamic moves, but still a few thrown in.
Francisco with the top on women's 1. Super strong there.
Yeah, did it very quickly. Oof, that could have been nasty.
Yes. Shin biter there.
Yeah. first hold sticks out quite far from the wall. Right, can he get the swing now? Back and forth he goes.
Solsa working her way up. We haven't seen too many athletes up here on Boulder 3.
No, we saw Brooke drop this. It is droppable, this final move. She needs to really commit to it. And I think if you get one hand up like that, the swing is hard to hold. You've got to go for the double.
Exactly. The wall is just too steep. And that hold is too bad.
Alberto on the slab.
Ooh, closer there. Beautiful, beautiful climbing by Tomoaki.
Yeah, he struggled with the creating the swing initially. He's found a solution now.
Okay,
Presses up.
Trying the press the other way. We saw Gregor try this on his one of his attempts, and it looked tough, to be honest.
Yeah, it does, because you can get your left foot into that position, but he really wants it where his left hand is, and it's the Spider-Man style walking up the wall now. This is outrageous from him.
Pressing almost downwards into these into the zone hold.
See, that's where he wants to get his left foot. He's going to have to try to lift the left foot in.
Wow.
It looks insane, but it does. It's a good way of doing that, and now he makes it work.
That mobility was incredible.
I love it when athletes do that. One of my favourite moves. So now he's in a better position. I think he could have got into this position in an easier way, perhaps.
Yeah, but sometimes in comp climbing especially, it's like you just got to do it somehow.
Yep.
So if that's the way that he saw to do it, good decisiveness and grit to make it work.
Exactly. He committed to it, made it happen. So now brings the left foot through. After all this, he won't want to drop this moment, but he's now got to jump around a corner. Oh, and that right hand firing off. Unlucky from him. Luchka has got the height for this, but decides the normal method, I'm going to call it, for doing this. Gets the right toe in, looking good so far. Needs to keep the body tension. She stands up and presses, and it will be a top from her.
Really nice. Oh, close.
Doyeon Lee misses that top.
When I looked at that boulder, I thought the top would be really hard, and it looks like it is. It's right there, but it's not easy to get.
So close, but so far, right?
So far.
So Alberto again on this annoying start to M1. I always feel for the athletes when they have a slab early on, because you talk to some of them and they really just want to get involved with something big and physical to put the nerves down, but you've got to calm yourself down, be precise. Look at that figure 4 movement. We rarely see that in climbing. It's when you hook your leg over your arm to gain a bit of reach, a bit of stability. Used in ice climbing a lot, but less so in rock climbing.
That was a clever solution, especially for maybe some of the shorter athletes. If the toe hooks are causing you trouble, then that's a great alternative. I don't think it's something I would think of very often, the figure 4.
Yeah, try it next time you're in your local gym if you're watching. It's a lot harder than it looks. So our top 6, Max, Victor, Tomoa, Doyeon, Jongwon and Gregor are our top 6 at the moment. Gregor in the danger zone. And for the women, Brooke Rabatou leading the way, followed by Mia, Flavie, Chloe and Jessica, and Kylie Cullen holding on in 6th position.
You see attempts being a big separator there for 4th through 7th, 5, 6, 8, and 9 to top. So
yeah, the top 2 for the women I think could be fairly safe, but everyone else is looking shaky, possibly. And some good athletes yet to come.
Here's one of them, Oriane Bertone, getting started on women's one.
Yeah, she is fun to watch.
Yes.
You will see what I mean in a couple of seconds. She's not one of those poker-faced athletes, put it like that.
So much personality in her climbing.
Yeah, she's been climbing hard. I remember her setting 8 Bs when I think she was 12 or something on Real Rock. I remember thinking, oh, she's one to watch, and yeah, there she is on the big stage now. Yeah, look at that, reading that perfectly.
Textbook. Her ability to move is just incredible.
Yeah, and she finds creative solutions to a lot of boulders as well. Oh, almost slipped though on that heel. Couldn't really readjust, had to go for it. Yeah, Oriane, no problems. Quickly off the mark for her. And of course, that's such an advantage because she's now got 3.5 extra minutes to rest.
Certainly is. And especially on a physical boulder like women's one, I mean, she's saving so much energy by flashing it as well. Energy and skin.
Yeah, skin is always a factor. And we said at the beginning, it's cool here in the stadium today, almost cold in fact, which the athletes will be loving. I'm in a down jacket, but they'll be loving it.
Jessie working her way up on women's 3.
Yeah, look at those heels underneath. 2 heels in action. Brings the right foot into a toe.
Oh, went up with both hands, kind of like we saw Brooke do, but just not enough to hold the swing.
Kita Dohai, 2 minutes 50 on the clock. Nearing the top here. Got to watch those feet though, and he goes for the hit.
Oh my.
I don't know how he did that. That's
beautiful.
There are no holds he was using
Yeah.
there, just gets stood up.
Really dropped the left heel there to get as much surface area with his shoe on that volume, and then just placing the heel and pulling his hips in.
I mean, it is, I think you said 3 degrees
Yes.
leaning in, so it's not totally vertical, which
No.
makes it possible to do that, but still. So 2 teammates in action. Mia nearing the top of hers.
Tomoa kind of wrapping this first hold around the rat. Wow.
Well,
Super nice.
That shoulder press. We saw Youngwon
Yes.
trying it.
Yes.
It's so powerful.
And Tomoa got that left foot up on the hold before the zone, which really helped him press up into the top. But didn't make use of this second sphere around the corner. So you wonder what the setters kind of intended there. Mia trying for the... Oh!
Now, I don't think that's going to count. Yeah, she doesn't really even look at the judges. She knows it wasn't long enough controlled. Volunteer just cleaning. I think there might be some blood on that hold, possibly. They're not allowed blood on the holds, and if there is, they have to clean it on M4, we saw.
I know a lot of the athletes had really bad skin after yesterday. I mean, a hard qualification means lots of attempts, and generally that's takes a toll on your skin.
I never ask about skin farming techniques, but there's various different methods
Yes.
of witchcraft that goes on to make it happen. Meichi has a huge fall, spinning down towards the ground face first. He's
Shakes
okay.
his head on landing.
I hope he's okay. And Jessie as well comes down.
Yeah, I feel like it also depends on where you are. I mean, here in Seoul, it's a little bit more humid than maybe some of us are used to, so changes it up too.
Exactly, and it's one of the challenges and joys of this circuit. All around the world we go. Salt Lake City is next. Move from
Back
Asia
to
to
back?
America. Yeah, back to back. So, Mia getting stood up, pressing, using this reach method, but that left foot swings out, and you can't stop it with a finger.
Chalks up quick. Maybe she has enough time for one more attempt. Just barely. Sam?
So, Sam Avazu
Oof.
hasn't got the zone yet. Came close, and Niho's in action in the background. So 16 seconds, she's going to have to... Yeah, I don't think it's going to be enough time. But it
Meichi?
might be for Meichi.
Oh, there, he tried a little bit like we saw Jeonwon before, kind of sinking down onto that red volume and then campusing, hopping up back out of it, but it looks really tough.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anyone can make that work. We switch to our leaderboard. Mia leading the way now, just jumping over Brooke. Jessie in 3rd place, Flavie 4th, Chloe 5th, and Kylie Cullen still hanging on there in 6th position. Down.
So many good climbers to come.
Yeah, remember Oriane, for example, she's only done 1 boulder, that's why she's in that position, so expect things to change around.
It's almost not worth predicting at all in these comps.
No, exactly. Tomoa Narasaki, though, is on top at the moment, followed by Max, who's been there for a while. Meichi, Narasaki, and 6th at the moment. Sean McCall down in 12th, we saw him topping out Boulder 3. Delighted to get that done. Kokoro Fuji is waiting at the bottom of that list. Athlete on form for sure.
Another French athlete with a lot of personality. We have Meiringen starting on men's 1.
Yeah, Mejdi, and then that's Camila Moroni. Of course, so good in the Moscow World Championships is Camila.
That was one of the most inspiring performances I've ever seen.
It truly was.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Camila is a regular now. We expect her at the top of the order at most World Cups. Now, Mejdi is someone described it to me as bouncy, his style.
Yes, bouncy is a great word for it.
I thought that summed it up quite well.
Like power to spare. Yeah, it's awesome. And he's, I feel like, a little bit similar to Oriane, like their climbing style and their sort of attitude I think something that I've talked about with one of my friends is that they're just not afraid to fall on the boulders, and they kind of like take it as just another opportunity to climb. So you'll see them come off and run right back up to the wall, and with the same amount of excitement and intensity and everything.
I'd also describe that as youth.
Yes.
But it is wonderful to watch them.
Camilla topping out women's 1.
Yeah, and Alberto getting a little talking to from the judge, who will just be pointing out exactly the starting position he has to be in, and that was that tricky start where you have to be controlled, and I think he probably just wasn't quite controlled enough.
Mage D. Okay.
Be on the top hold. Let's see how bouncy he really is. There he goes. Springs up, gets it done.
With a scream on his way to the finish, I think.
I think we expect Mejdi to be in finals, which is pretty special considering how young he is. Futaba. Ito on women's 3.
Yeah.
Quite.
Great start for Mage D and Meiringen as well. The bronze medal.
Yeah, it was a real roller coaster of a competition there.
If you get a chance, go back and watch.
Oh,
there's a replay.
Camilla getting it done on women's 1.
So powerful. Yeah. No problems there for her.
No, and Seoul sat sideways on the wall. She's using the traditional method. A bit too short to stretch up, I think, although she is looking at it. She needs to bring the left foot through in order to get the right, or she's got to kick the left all the way through. We haven't seen that work for anyone yet.
A top here for Seoul would also be super great since she does have all 4 zones. We haven't seen a ton of athletes with all 4.
Yeah, this is important for the finals, this could be.
Tomoaki moving his way up on men's 4 as well.
The match from Seoul Sat.
Oh,
this is important for Seoul. He switch back as he catches the left.
Keeping.
And Seoul Sat as well goes down.
Enough time to try again, for sure.
Yeah, looking a little bit tired perhaps, but she will rest for at least 20 seconds, I would imagine.
You can see Futaba working her way up, women's 3, and we like when I read this boulder, it seemed really 3D. So we saw her drop kneeing and using her legs to kind of like pull her hips into the wall and take some weight off her hands. It's always really interesting to watch.
So Yoshiyuki Ogata on the final move. So many different ways of this, but that's the way we've seen most successful. The jump, the catch, the match on the dish.
So impressive with one hand to hold that finish. It's really, really cool.
The Japanese athletes seem to be training their one-armers all the time. The amount of times I see a one-armer from those guys.
Francisca really, really strong getting to the zone. Choosing to press.
Yeah, this boulder's so technical.
Oh, wow. She reaches all the way through. We haven't seen any other athletes do that.
Oh, loses her feet, and that right dish is good, but couldn't quite make it work.
She's going to be bummed. Not quite enough time to get back up there.
Solstas still's going, but she's also running out of time.
Okay.
Can he make it stick? He can't. Oh, what an angle that is. Solstas is still on the wall.
Never giving up in front
None of the South Korean athletes have. I haven't seen a single one walk away before the time
Not in front of the
finishes.
home crowd.
No. Sharing a moment, that's lovely to see. Right, another rotation. As we check the leaderboard again. Tomoa Narasaki still on top, still Max. And Tomoa Takata down in 6th now. Dohyun Lee from South Korea. Be great to see him in a final. From Japan, Mia leading the way. Brooke, Jessie, Flavie, Chloe, Kylie. Our top 6 at the moment. 6 can make it through from 20. And 210 athletes compete this weekend, or this week.
For the first time in a while, there was only one qualification group at this event for men and women. That's because there was less than 60 athletes per category. Makes it a little bit different.
Yeah, it did change things up. Made it for a long day yesterday.
A long day, yes.
Paul Gemft, another one coming from the youth scene. A very successful youth climber, and has made the transition with ease into this senior circuit.
Such a different climber than the other French as well. You can really just like see the comparison between them.
Well, just body shape wise.
Yes.
I mean, he's double the height of most of the other athletes. He's very tall, he's very powerful, and he has a different way of doing things.
He uses his height really well as well.
He goes for the heel method.
Yep.
Oh, catches the left well and brings the right in. That's a flash for Paul, who made sure. For our second last athlete out, we're nearing the end.
Wow.
Oh, look at that. That was easy.
Meiringen working his way up into the top. It looked resolute and impressive.
It really did, yeah. So that's 2 out of 4 for him and 2 zones. And Oriane, another top for her on women's 2. That's 2 out of 2 for her. We wait for that score to be updated down on the bottom left. That will change to a full yellow bar.
Okay, first look at Stasha on women's 1.
Stasha Geo has a run of form at the moment that is very impressive to watch. She's been coming for a while, and I think she's always seen somehow as a bit of an underdog in these competitions, and yet her consistency at the moment is impressive. And look at that, straight away to the top. No problems from Stasha.
She's so analytical, and she works super, super hard. And it's awesome to see her with the success she's had this season, and starting off this round with the top. That's, even better.
Yeah, done well. Jessie snatching out for that right.
That was really impressive.
Crimp strength required for that.
We saw a lot of other athletes trying to match that top green hold, but yes, punching out with just the right. Clever.
Yeah, and then she spins down. That was a great catch from Jess. She's got lots of time. Quick flashes mean we have less athletes on the stage, which is good. We can focus on a few of them. Miho Nanaka there.
Miho's really impressive on the spray wall, so this boulder might suit her well.
So is there a secret? You've trained with her. Is there a secret to her training? Any tips you can give us?
She works really hard. Yeah, I mean, she was just in there every day, putting in the hours, and she's really focused and really, yeah.
I thought you might say that.
Yeah.
So sadly, hard work does win.
Hard work pays off, yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
I mean,
No,
she's also extremely talented.
Exactly. I mean, there's no easy way. These athletes are the best of the best. And as I said, I mean, there's such depth in the field. You could have, another 20 come up here and still perform as well. Jessie drop kneeing, pops out again with that right, makes it stick, very precise with that crimp.
I like that position there with the drop knee on the left. Ooh, we see her stretching, maybe thinking about that alternative beta.
Yeah, that left foot driving down. She's looking at it, willing to find a better position. Now drops it through. Can't hold the swing. She'll go again, though.
A top here would be huge for Jessie. I think she knows it, too.
Yeah, she needs it for her score.
Saw Sam try and leap for the top. Pretty close. And Miho working her way up into the zone.
Yeah, she's knee scrubbing as well in there. Look, that's a good angle showing how overhanging that section is, because you've got to throw yourself back here and you can't see the jib on top of the final hold. It is tick marked, but it's still hard.
Oh! So close from Miho.
Sam again.
Wow, he got back up there
Really
fast.
fast. He blinked and you missed it. And he threw himself sideways. I think he had more time than he thought there. And Jessie didn't manage to get that tick, I don't think. She exits down towards the front as our camera pans back. What a stadium. I've really enjoyed being here. It's a little Zen garden of climbing here. As we rotate around, athletes come out from behind the isolation area, back at the wall, giving themselves the privacy to get ready before they come out onto the stage with the eyes of thousands. Natalia Grossman is in action. Look, we said she might, and I think, look, let's just say it, she's probably the favourite, probably, look at me, I'm on the fence here. She's the favourite for this competition, I'd say. Deals with the pressure well.
See her getting a good look at the boulder. Natalia's one that she steps up, ready to flash.
Can she give it together? Kokoro Fuji on the slab. I watched him yesterday walk his way up the first slab, so this is something he's very good at doing. I'm expecting a quick send from him on M1.
Really nice from Natalia so far. Just using her momentum into the zone.
She goes for a toe instead of the heel there.
Pulls her hips over. Wow. Yep.
Right, well, she's got any nerves that might have been at bay as she flashes Boulder 1. She'll go off with a huge resting period. Did that in a minute 10. And not much
so
of that was
fast.
climbing. Most of that was brushing time.
Yeah. That's the kind of boulder you see after on video, and you're like, oh, it's so easy. And then, yeah, that's just Natalia, though.
Yeah, it's not. I went and touched those holds. It's not easy. So getting stood up now is Yoshiyuki.
Looking at the top, but it's not a guarantee. See what he tries here.
Yeah, this shoulder press is big. He has to come up with that left, bounce into it, and yeah, get quite underneath it enough. Futaba Ito on the final slab. Kokoro Fuji gets established. Right foot up, looks at the top. Aims himself, presses, and a lovely foot movement to get stood up there.
Very clean. Really light on his feet there.
So, job done. And we
Quickly.
won't see any more of boulder number 1 as our final athlete has climbed it.
Futaba looks in a good position here. She's already switched feet, which seems to be the trickiest part. Well, maybe not.
Yeah, it's being
Tricky
precise
part.
on that right foot.
Yes.
You can see it just kind of banging a foot into the wall.
There's quite a few sequence options here with the hands and the feet. It kind of just looks like they're all really hard, and you have to choose one, make it work.
It's good setting. The fact that we have seen lots of different methods and they all sort of work is exciting stuff.
I always like when the different methods seem equally difficult as well.
Alberto matching. He goes up with the left press. This is the better way to do it. Right palm on that wall as he turns now to face the top hold.
Francisca looking super strong on 3.
So Alberto now, a smile on his face. What method is he going to use? There's a drop down, there's a pop. The best way we've seen is to fly out right and catch it with the right. Oh, he's very static here.
He's almost stepping back into that. Wow.
Alberto.
Oh.
I mean, that's a great example of the power of sticky rubber, how he made that work. Oh, and Camila drops the final move.
That last hold on that women's 2 boulder looks good, but I think that dish is really round and really slopey.
And I think, as you said, it looks good and it kind of tricks the athletes.
Yes. Futaba off again on women's 4. Still time to try again. And we see the leaderboard there on the right. Chloe Koskoi hanging on in 6th.
Yeah, she's been there for a while in that dangerous place to be, but she's done well. Mejdi has a minute to get it done, so does Camila. Mejdi currently outside of the top 6, of course, but he's early on in the competition. The way to go.
Yoshiki campusing around. Wow.
Yeah.
This boulder is really fun to watch.
It is, isn't it? I was just thinking of Jongwon's method, that campus. No one else has really needed to do that. I'm glad he showed us that way. So, this is the move, though. This is the business end. Presses up, catches it. It's going to be getting slippy of that hold.
Yes. Futaba so clean through the run across. She doesn't have too much time left, so you can see her moving quickly through the section that she's already done.
Yeah, so this is where she got to before. Look, makes the foot swap. Oh, I mean, come on, looks easy. Stretches with the left hand. Inching her way upwards, misses
so
it.
close. Oh.
Tried the double movement. I think she's disappointed with that. She was close. Composes herself, waves. Time will tell. Camila, this is replay. Yeah, look, right hand up.
More statically there, moving the right foot up. Looks a little bit better. Super psyched.
Yeah, she would have been annoyed to have dropped that initially.
That's 2 tops for Camila. That's really, really good.
Attempts, you called it, and I think attempts are going to play a big
role
part in this, yeah. Climbing quickly, first time is important.
Starting to see the wall not be as full. No climbers on Boulder 1.
I love the ebb of a semi-final. You know, we start off very chill. We can talk our way into it, and then it gets hectic in the middle, and then calms back down again.
Yeah. I honestly like it more than the final, I think. like having more athletes on the wall, keeping the energy up, men and women climbing at the same time. It's cool.
Well, thank you, Sienna, for joining me in the commentary box. I'm sure you'll agree at home. Wonderful analytics from you. Thank you. And Paul now matching his way through. He's got a very quick top. And look at that great angle showing the crimp and the thumb coming in. It's wide as well. You've got to have big hands to make that happen.
With the heel. Oh.
So Paul not working. Stashes in action. Looks for the left toe.
Spanning across. Ooh, close.
Oriane
Close.
doing a very thorough cleaning job of those opening holds. 2 out of 2 so far, and looking in a good place.
Yes. But still, anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. Long way to go. Kita, make sure that everything's clean and ready for him as well.
It's important to brush those first holds, even if they're jugs, you know? Makes a big difference on how you're able to generate.
One thing I notice as the semi-final progresses, the more experienced athletes, or the ones qualifying higher up the order, they're a bit better at timing their brushing and when they get going. It's less rushed, less snatchy sometimes. And that is Miho Nonaka. Stood up. We saw Futaba make this foot swap look way easier than it has any right to be.
Oh, Miho almost put her foot over before crossing the left hand, but chooses to do what we saw Futaba try. Oh.
Matches now.
Those green holds, they've got this thin seam. It's very small and very bad and very hard to match. So it's been impressive.
So Kita works hands around. Now gets the right on. Then goes for the undercling method, which works to get yourself established. Oh, just
super nice.
Last minute snatches and goes.
Super nice.
Awesome, Kita.
I liked that he dropped the foot off of the red volume before he jumped. It looked like that kind of allowed him to get a little bit more over towards the top instead of pushing himself the opposite direction.
Absolutely. So, Sam down the bottom.
Trying something different.
Did he touch? He's got the all clear from the judges. It was hard to see from our angle.
Wow. Okay. This is some new beta here.
Yeah, very different. But he's on. It worked. And now the Jongwon style campus move. Up he goes. He doesn't have the power for it.
Miho, back up here.
Yeah, this is the foot swap.
Okay.
And then what will she do? Left foot. She matched this before.
Making some more space. You saw her grab just the top edge with her left hand.
Yeah,
very nice.
She's going to do it as well.
There she
Presses up. Great from Miho.
Awesome. That was really clever. Like making the space there on the green hold, like taking the time, making it harder on herself to hold it, to have enough space to match, to then progress. It's really clever.
Stasha, one move away, drops back down to re-chalk up. There's her dad watching on. Dad and coach, travels the world with her. Comes back through, left foot dropping, makes the match from Stasha. Great patience, just makes sure of the match. We saw the judge raising the OK, she wouldn't have had. Excellent from Stasha there.
2 tops for Stasha. It's great.
So Paul Jenf gets the heel in, now brings the left out onto that black texture, which is the same as the grey texture, no real difference. It's almost like a target pad, that, for the athletes to stand on. Paul Jenf's he's got 19 seconds, and there's quite a way to go on this boulder.
Trying until the end. He knows tops are valuable.
Yeah, this is actually, we're watching Sam, this is Paul here, comes through. Yeah, 2 seconds, not going to be enough. So, no
Not
top
enough,
for Paul.
but not over. He's got 2 more boulders. It's a key too, staying in it. So Paul obviously not super happy about not topping men's 2, but at least as an athlete, when you go back behind the wall, it's key to kind of throw that away and come out for the 3rd boulder and the 4th boulder with an attitude that you can turn it around.
Yeah.
Because it really isn't over until the end.
Exactly, and Meiringen showed that.
Yes.
You know, 6th to 1st
Yes.
on the final boulder.
Yes.
It can happen.
I love it.
Hard for us
crazy.
to call here in the commentary box. I think I called it
Yes.
completely wrong, in fact. I said he had no chance of winning and then he
Yes.
went and won. But it's just a lot of action that goes on. So there is the gold medalist, Alberto Jimenez Lopez, getting stood up, using that different method, but then going into the bat hang. Pressing with the left foot underneath for a
Very
second.
nice.
Drops back down, spins, and I think he's going to
Campuses
try
it.
this campusy move because there's no texture on that volcano hold.
Oof. All 3 points on that red hold looks tough.
Yeah, the lack of friction makes that hard. Camila Moroni,
I'm
2 out of 2.
I'm excited to see her on this boulder. She really likes the steep power. And this is that.
Yeah, she is all power, isn't she? Slaps out with the left now, gets the heel.
See Meiringen Lashang across. Yep. Textbook form there.
Mejdi getting going. High heel hook. And then Camilla gets herself set up for the jump. Oh, matches it. What a catch from her.
Yes.
Fantastic. That means a lot to Camilla, and that was awesome to watch.
That's exactly the attitude we saw at the World Championships. She follows through into the end and fights. That was, oh, wow.
Yeah, Team Italy has a rising star in Camilla Moroni.
3 tops is going to put her in a really, really good position for that final as well.
Alberto upside down. How he's making that toe and that swing through work. So powerful. From the man from Spain. Left heel up now.
Big scrape on his shin there that we can see.
Oh, yeah.
These athletes get torn up, and you really don't realize until the adrenaline has left your body and you're sitting in the hotel room and you're like, wow, everything hurts.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, the bus on the way back through. Hey, we're watching Mejdi here. Look at this, swinging around. He didn't get Boulder 2. He's got men's 3 though. Yeah,
That bounciness.
on the bus yesterday, everyone had tape in various different places.
Yes.
Everyone looked battered, giving it everything.
People ask us if it hurts, and it honestly doesn't. During the comp, no way. Too much going on, too much focus, too much adrenaline.
Kokoro, final move from him. Can he get it finished off?
Wow!
He can, of course he can. Slow, steady, hangs around just for the celebration, just for the flexing, gets it done.
I think Kokoro has some of the best contact strength on the circuit. The way that his hands can create pressure is unlike anything else.
I've called him a climbing robot before, and I always stick with it because he is robotic with those movements. Alberto, though, flinging himself around here, out with the right.
This is good progress, like working through that red hold into the grays. It's cool.
Makes the match, comes up onto the grey, pressing with his palm. One move away, but it's all about this final move, really. Francisca in the background. Oh, happy to get that move across.
Super nice from Alberto there.
Look at that, finishing it off beautifully. Has he finished it off, though? He's still up there.
But he's in a pretty good position.
Now he does. That's controlled enough.
Amazing
awesome angle.
Alberto.
You can see the emotions.
Yes. We call that like persevering through something so uncomfortable. So when he was on that zone, grabbing the gray volume around the corner, he took the time to make the foot switch, which set him up perfectly for the finish. And then even for matching the finish as well, digging in, creating the compression. Yep. Gaining control.
So Francisca, she's using this reachy method we've seen on the edge, the corner of that volume. It's all chalked up, as you can see. The other athletes having tried it, but it's a long way up there.
And this is probably her last attempt.
Yeah, and she's rethought her beater here. She's now going to be stepping right, I think. See that left hand struggling. The distance clear from the top of the wall.
Great view of how small that grip is. Oh, pressing.
She's got a problem though, because she's got to bring the right foot to where her right hand is. Yeah, I think she's always going to lose the balancing point by doing that. Breathing
Exhausted
heavy.
when she hits the pads.
So Francisca will finish her comp there. That's our crowd. And I said it, but what hosts they have been for us. That's the isolation area, by the way, that different angle behind the wall. This is the backwards shot. So our top 6, Tomoa leading the way, Michi in second, Yoshiyuki third, Mejdi and Max in fifth, Kita coming up sixth. Max slowly slipping down the order. He's been there for a long time.
That's 4 Japanese out of 6 right now. We've had that in the final before, so we'll see.
Maybe a Japanese clean sweep. Oh, exciting stuff. Mia, first position. Brooke Rabatu, Camila, Jessie, Miho, and Flavie in the top 6 at the moment. Flavie's been there a while as well.
Yes, but we have Oriane Bertone and Stasha and Natalia kind of coming up that order. They
Yeah.
haven't done all their boulders, and they're here to earn that spot. So.
I think something pretty surprising would have to happen for that top 6 not to change. But we're not going to call it. And Oriane is there on women's 4. She does need a top here.
Both athletes taking a good look.
Yeah, and Oriane lives and trains in Font, so a slab might be her thing. Paul Gemf looking a little weary here on men's 3.
It's Melanie, Victor's mom, watching from the stands. She was really excited to see Victor perform so well yesterday. Keita working his way up here. 3 points on that red hold. Looks so tricky.
It does, and it's awkward for that
Yes.
move up to the right
Yes.
as well. It's hard to get the power because you're all scrunched up underneath yourself.
We've seen those athletes drop the feet, do the more campusing method, which almost seems to be a little less awkward, although it might be more physical. Paul worked through the lache, obviously, pressing.
Yeah, changes.
He looks
tone.
tall in this box.
He does, and this is where, height's never a factor whether you can and can't do something, but it
No.
changes the way you
Yes,
do it.
Yes.
And this move might be easier for him, perhaps. He's thinking about different methods, maybe the drop down, maybe the right foot.
Maybe switching his feet. Oh.
He's thinking about a drop down, isn't he?
Is that the other thing?
He's considering it. Right foot up this time. I said that dish is bad, and the second you move to the right, it gets worse. Due to the shape of it.
I'm surprised how few climbers climb with the chalk bag. I would be up here chalking up over and over.
Yeah, and there is Paul coming down. Yeah, you're right. And why is that decision? Is it just purely
Personal
personal?
preference. Yeah, I think so. I think on a boulder like that, I personally would wear a chalk bag because there's kind of an obvious quote-unquote rest where you could take a hand off and chalk up. Lots of these boulders, it's so intense, there would be nowhere to take a hand off to do anything. But
Yeah, that is one of those positions. Oriane now needs this for her competition.
easily matches. Got that right hand up.
How technical is Oriane feeling? She needs to bring the left foot through. There's a few different ways. I don't think she's thinking about the stretch. She wants to get that left foot through. We'll switch back to her in a minute, but Kita Doai
Eyeing up.
on the final move.
I think he's trying to make that foot switch.
And there is Oriane. She
Ooh.
tops it out. She needed it. She did it. And for me, that really shows the change in her attitude for competitions. She doesn't get as frustrated as she used to do.
Big smile.
Currently in 5th and 3rd now as the score has changed. She's bumped up the order. That should be enough, really.
That should be enough.
So we'll see her
Oh.
climb again.
Awesome.
Stasha, meanwhile, is on the physical women's 3. What's her skin situation? I talked to her about skin, and it was something she was worried about.
Yeah, lots of fiberglass. Pretty much everything was fiberglass yesterday, and, well, it looks like everything is fiberglass today as well.
And Paul stretches.
Wow.
That is the exact using
Yes,
his height.
Yes.
Well.
So well.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, he managed to stretch around the corner with his feet still on.
Sort of like we saw some other athletes do before, but a little less low and a little more of a reach. Yeah.
It's good how that balanced out because he found the scrunchy move hard, obviously,
Yes.
being taller, and then that move easier. So good route setting once again. Stasha takes her time here. She's so experienced. She knows she's got to time her last few goes, especially on something this physical.
Stasha's really good at that. She's got a lot of experience, and yeah. I think especially in a boulder like women's 3, which is so demanding and so physical, it's not worth giving 10 attempts in your 5 minutes. It's much better to give quality attempts over the quantity.
Yeah, and you're right with experience, because if you're maybe more of a sort of young gun throwing yourself at it, you would be going
Yes,
again and again.
And then it's just not so productive for that boulder or the rest of your round.
We said that Colin Duffy throwing himself again and again in Meiringen.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes it works.
Sometimes it works. It works when you have to, I guess.
Yeah, so Stasha won't get that done. 4 seconds to go. A little frustrated.
It's not over.
No, she's still got time, and it's a slab next. She's good at slab climbing.
But it definitely puts the pressure on. I mean, atop of the third boulder, maybe you don't have to do the fourth, but now kind of Stasha's going to know that she needs to pick it up.
So Mejdi's in the danger zone. Tomoe Narasaki is definitely through. What a performance from him. And look at that, Japanese top four, a lockout. Very similar to Meiringen, Japanese and French in the top.
The big name we have coming through for the men is Kokoro. So he's the only one out of the top 6 that hasn't finished all of his boulders.
And for the women, Mia has been there all along, right at the top.
Amazing performance from her.
Yeah, it was awesome. And look at the top attempts. That's what the difference was. 8 to 11, that's a big difference.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, when you've witnessed the climbing and then you look at the stats,
yes,
it all kind of makes sense.
Yes.
Now Mejdi needs to get this done to make sure he's in this final. Tops out nicely and is swinging. We saw Alberto doing the same thing.
Hanging there by his toes.
That's a rest, isn't it, that, surely?
Wow.
Oh, what was that?
With both hands.
Both hands going up.
That's cool. He built the momentum.
Told you, bouncy.
Bouncy. Even when he's upside down.
Even when he's upside down. Camilla Moroni on the final couple of moves of this slab gets a left foot up to start with, and that's smart actually because she's in a far better position.
Yeah, and then you skip the tricky foot switch.
Exactly. Great climbing from Camilla.
Matching under instead, potentially.
Standing on her toes, but so precise from her. Abs working to keep yourself into the wall on that move.
Looks like it's really hard to weight that right foot there. And of course you need weight on the feet in order to get them to stick. Oh.
There is the man who we're expecting to come through into the finals. So let's see a replay here. This is Natalia's top.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
The Natalia flick. Forget the Yanya flick. As the Natalia flick, she goes backwards. Scorpion almost up there on the wall.
Super impressive. It looks so hard to generate for that last move on women's 3, and I mean, she did it with ease. And 3 tops, I think that puts her in a really good position to make the final. So the favorite is still in the running.
Kokoro, 2 tops out of 2. If you're just joining us, it's towards the end of our semi-final here in Seoul, South Korea. The final is tonight, 5 p.m. South Korean time. Camilla Moroni. Different method now. Yes. She's got the left foot over. We were saying how smart it was, but perhaps it wasn't working her other way.
Digging into those green crimps. You can see her fingers closed.
There's so much going on. There's almost no movement, and yet every muscle is twitching. You know, there's firing to keep her in that position.
That looked promising. I'm not sure she loved it. We'll see what she tries again, because now she's tried 2 different betas. Both of them looked promising. Sometimes that's a tricky situation to be in as an athlete, because you're standing on the mats now and you're like, okay, when I get back up there, what do I do? Yeah.
Well, 2 minutes to go. It's a good time to make that decision, isn't it? Because you've got time, but you have to make it. Mejdi again. He did this insane double hand bump. Will he do it again? Hopefully we can see it. There it is.
I love when athletes climb so intuitively. That was crazy.
Mejdi 360 there on the wall. Yes. I was there. We both caught our eye there as we looked at that move take place, spinning through.
But yeah, back to the intuition. I think nobody else would try it that way, but that's just what makes the most sense to him when he gets on the wall. So to see him just pull on and execute it how he believes it works, and I mean, that's super successful. So
exactly. It's, you know, sometimes intuition is definitely a replacement for experience.
Yes.
I think.
And I think experience advises and intuition as well.
Oh, we're getting deeper in the commentary box. Camilla Moroni will get stood up for her final move. Pops similar to Jessie on this.
Okay. So she's kind of going for this beta again. The tricky foot switch.
Takes her time. Now moves it through and somehow is still on the wall. That's insane finger strength from Camilla.
That's that fight I'm talking about.
That's 4 out of 4 as well.
That's 4 out of 4. That was insane. How did she
had
hold on the wall?
no right to stay on that wall.
No.
Like, she's been on the fingerboard a lot. Kokoro running back, he's got 14 seconds. He's struggled on this a little bit. I would have expected this to be more his thing.
Agreed.
So, interesting. Okay. So he's got a final ball to Mejdi as well. Can't get it.
Frustrated.
Right, well, this game
wondering-
of chess is playing out here a bit.
This is why we don't call the finalists before the round is over.
Yeah, I've made that mistake before. Never again. Well, that's our stadium as we spiral upwards towards the stars. Oriane just walked past us, giving us a massive wave and a smile. She was happy.
Another final for her. Big chance. I know she wants those medals, those podium spots, everything. The experience. I feel like Oriane just loves the climbing part of it, so getting to do it again will be great.
Yeah, and it's always good to see her. So, Stasha, now this is where she needs to compose herself. She understands slabs so well. I've heard her commentate with me so many times about talking through the different ways of doing it. She understands it, it's just putting it into practice. Taking her time to make sure all the holds are clean. She'll be looking for a quick send of this. Paul Gemft stretched himself out. Left hand up, different from Mejdi, went with the double.
Ooh, working his toes even further. Looked like he was maybe going to go for the second bat hang there, but thinks better of it.
Stasha quickly got that done. Now she gets established, chalks up.
Presses over. Ooh.
Into the zone.
Interesting typewriter transition between those two big Gaston holds.
Talk to me about typewriter transition.
Typewriter. Taking your body weight from one side to the other in maybe like more of a shouldery position. So you could see both of her hands are turned out and she has to transition her body weight from the right to the left. And of course, as you transition, the right hold gets worse as the left hold gets better.
Perfect.
And vice versa.
Thank you.
Of course.
Stasha on a flash attempt.
Wow.
Oh, she's going to make it work. Stasha needed to do this.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Stasha's another one of those competitors that's really great at doing the boulder her way. And you can see that there. No hesitation for going for the stretch method.
I want people at home to be aware of how impressive that was because she composed herself so well. She knew she needed to do it quickly and she took the time needed.
Amazing.
I got
amazing.
I actually got goosebumps.
Yes.
I'm not making that up. Awesome. So
I
Paul,
feel like that's where that experience comes in, and all of the mental training and everything is like that moment where the pressure is on and you can execute. And it's one of the best feelings in competition as well, which makes all the hard work worth it.
So Paul Gemft spins and the knee bar. Clever climbing. We've seen it a few times.
I'm excited to see how Paul does this finish. You can see he's already doing something different than what we've maybe seen other competitors do or try.
Yeah, like he's eyeing it up from quite low down and just reaches up. Crimps it, but he's way below.
Oh.
Well, we wondered what that right hold was for.
Yeah, maybe that.
That's it, I reckon. So Paul figuring out different ways.
He's still got time on the clock.
Yeah, and he's in a good position. He's third at the moment.
I wonder, that looked really close. He just looked a little bit too low on the zone and on that hold around the corner. I mean, they're both really bad and not down pulling at all. So when he's so far under them, he's not getting much purchase. Taking a big break here. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He is, isn't he? Just resting, waiting.
This is where the time management comes in. I think Paul knows that that boulder is tiring enough and that he's progressed far enough on it as well to only want to give one more attempt.
I'm always really impressed with you athletes, the way you can do that. Because if it was me, I think I'd be rushing it. You know, I just want to get on with it. It takes such self-control to say, no, I'm going to wait till I'm ready.
You also have to know how long it's going to take you to climb the boulder. So we see Paul waiting until under a minute. So he's got a good idea of what he thinks it's going to take to get to the top.
If I was French, I'd be screaming at the screen right now. urging him to
45
get on with
seconds,
it.
meandering towards the wall. He's in no rush to hop on.
Casual from Paul.
Okay,
Now he's underway.
37 seconds. Let's see.
And you'd think this would be his one and only. So, missed the first left up. Oh, and he's going to be pulled back from the judges and not starting. He's still calm.
Wow.
That is a man dealing with pressure. Unless he's going to call it, is he not going to go? He's not going to go. I think he knows. Look, he's third.
Yes.
He knows he's in it. He doesn't want to waste a skid.
No.
So Paul, yeah.
I mean, the other weird thing about this venue, which us athletes were kind of split on, is the scoreboard is right beside the boulders at like a perpendicular angle. So while you're on the climbs, you can turn around and look at where you are in the ranking. And I think that's what we saw Paul looking back at, was he saw his name third on the ranking list, and he's like, okay.
Yeah. And it's not cheating. I mean, he's,
No, of course.
He's
It's
allowed
okay.
to do that,
Yeah.
and it's up there for him to see.
Of
So
course.
good climbing from him. Natalia comes out smiling, as per usual. So 2 athletes on the mat on their final boulder.
Natalia will want to close this out with the top.
So there she is, taking her time. Someone who a lot of people were saying, why isn't Natalia in the Olympics? Well, she didn't qualify that time around, but keep an eye on the next
Oh,
one,
yeah.
because it's hard not to bet against her at the moment.
Especially for the combined of bouldering and lead. I think she's, one of the strongest at both.
Absolutely, place your bets now. So Natalia will figure out that first sequence. Kukuru didn't climb men's 3, which is a bit of a surprise, but he's got another chance at a physical boulder here.
You can see he's in the 9th rank, so he's out of finals right now. There's potential that a top here could put him in that top 6.
So
I wonder if he knows it.
well, I mean, we discussed the scoreboard.
Yeah.
He will have seen it.
True, but maybe he didn't look. That's the other thing.
Yeah. So does he know? I mean, regardless, he'll want to climb it. So he spins now. Oh, look at that. Matches.
That contact strength again. Holding that red sloper as if it's a giant jug.
Yeah, it's easy so far from Natalia as well. Is high up. Gets that right foot in. Oh, I mean, we've seen how hard that is to do what she's doing.
Wow.
Does a Camilla style, holds it. And now she's got to push on upwards, which
Wow.
she does. Quick send from Natalia.
Really nice. 4 tops. Yeah.
Perfect.
Closes off a round.
So that continues her perfect run of form. 5
Yes.
in the qualies, 4 in semis.
We said Kokoro here has a good position in the top, but as we know, it's not over until that moment. There we go.
The double tap of celebration. And that will confirm our top 6 as our semi-final here in Seoul. Eases its way out.
Over a little bit early. Both athletes leaving the mats with 2:40 on the clock.
It's true, they didn't need it. Well, it gives everyone more time to rest, have some lunch. So we'll see the confirmation of the top 6 in a minute. But, I mean, what a competition.
That was great. I loved that semifinal. Yeah.
Well, let's see it here. Though the men's top 6, Tomoe Narasaki, Kokoro Fuji, Meiichi Narasaki, Paul Jemft, and Kita Dohai, and Yoshiyuki Ogata leading
5
the way.
out of 6 Japanese in finals for the men.
Yeah,
Wow.
Meiichi just been pushed down, not getting that final boulder. That is going to be an exciting final. It's going to be Team Japan versus Team Japan, and Paul Jemft trying to break through onto the podium. Max was in the top 6 for a while, gets pushed down to 8th. He's so close to the final.
Still 2 consistent comps for Max. That's really great.
Yeah,
I think he ended in 8th in Meiringen as well.
Yeah, he's building, isn't he? Getting more and more confident as he goes. And we come down to our 20, those athletes missing out. Great performances from all of those, and a hard set of boulders. Well split as well, good route setting. So let's see the women's. Natalia Grossman, we saw her at the end, 4 out of 4 for her. Camilla Moroni in 2nd place, again another 4, just separated by attempts to top. Mia in 3rd, Brooke Rabitu, Oriane in 5th with 3, and then Stasha Geo squeaked in after that impressive final slab.
Bit of a better mix here, or a diverse mix of countries here.
Exactly, well,
And
it
some
could
big
be,
names.
It's some big names, and Camilla Moroni and Natalia Grossman, that could be the fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. They're both looking very similar. Kylie Cullen was up there for a long time. Futaba Ito did well. Sophia Yukiyama jumps way up from her position in Meiringen, and Laura Rogera at the end, struggling a little bit on some of these boulders. So a good selection. Well, Sienna, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
It was an absolute pleasure. And yeah, the semi-finals went past in a blink of an eye.
Yes, it did.
Really enjoyed that.
No, like I said, the best consolation prize. If I couldn't be up there climbing, I'd like to be here in the booth chatting with you. So.
Well, it was great to have you as we pan back on our stadium now. Last couple of seconds. Do join us tonight, 5 p.m. South Korean time for the women. They'll be kicking us off, followed by the men. Not quite sure if you're in Europe what time that will be. And that is the city as it reveals itself on our pan back. So, such a busy place. And we haven't been here since 2019.
No. Yeah, and it's awesome. It's good to be back.
It really is, and it feels like Asia for me feels often like almost like a home of climbing.
Yes.
You get so many strong athletes.
Yes. And the gyms that we get to train in when we arrive, I mean, they're all world class. Come on.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back this evening for the finals. Thank you for watching, and I'll be joining you later on in the evening.